lockdown was saved many lives, but because we were late to lockdown, Britain, the UK had the highest mortality rate per capita in the world and reached a very tragic milestone in terms of surpassing the numbers of deaths. So without that lockdown, we'd be looking at the 3 lockdowns that we've now had, a far greater number. But lockdowns alone are not the answer towards fighting coronavirus. It is literally the last tool that we have in our arsenal to protect people. It is a very blunt instrument and it comes at a high cost itself. But there are other things that the UK government failed to do early on, which meant that we had no other choice but to 1 year later still be in a 3rd lockdown. This result, the 3 lockdowns, the many over 100,000 deaths, was not an inevitable path. It was a series of strategical errors and even arrogance of government thinking that this exceptionalism, because they have been advising the rest of the world on how to respond to pandemics, and followed in error a flu pandemic model, allowing the disease to spread. My hope is that we come out of this with also a stronger international coordination framework, that the WHO receives funding because currently it only has the budget of a half of a mid-sized US hospital, and that there's some reforms in it that gives it a bit more political teeth in order to combat some very difficult political situations. So I think that on a global level, the early detection warning framework has to be improved, and there have been reviews and panels specifically dedicated just to ensure that for the future, again, it's not if but when we face another pandemic, that we're in a much stronger position. We might see the use of masks become more commonplace, not just for this disease, but in general, type of respiratory hygiene and also hand hygiene being more of a cornerstone in public places, more disinfectant available to individuals. I think just a heightened sense about the viruses that we coexist with.